Alright guys, in case you guys have not heard, Donald Trump has decided to suspend, I will reiterate that, it is suspend funding from to the WHO pending a review. So it is not yet been guaranteed that he will be cutting funding. Everybody says he's cut funding. It's only been suspended pending a review. Do I think he's going to cut the funding? Definitely. I think he's definitely going to do it anyway. I think this review is just merely a formality, but let's jump into it. President Trump said the US will stop funding the World Health Organization while his administration reviews its role in mismanaging the beer bug. He said the US contributed up to $400 million, while superpowers like China, where the outbreak began, contributed closer to $40 million. The United States has a duty to insist on full accountability, Mr. Trump said. He cited the WHO's lack of pushback from Beijing's foggy reporting on the virus in the early going, saying it cost the rest of the world valuable time. He's also blasted the WHO opposition to bans on travel from China, accusing it of putting political correctness above life-saving measures. So, countless more lives would have been saved. Instead, look at the rest of the world, he said, citing the rampant spread of the virus in Europe. He said the US funding wasn't put to good use to the WHO, failed to vet and share information in a timely fashion. Mr. Trump said that freeze will last 60 to 90 days and should have been done by previous administrations. This is an evaluation period, Mr. Trump said. He said that he will channel the money to the areas that most likely needs it. The president also accused the WHO of failing to contain samples of the virus from China and getting a team into the source country through WHO. Ultimately did get a team with the cooperation, though the WHO ultimately did get a team with cooperation from Beijing. Mr. Trump's decision to cut the funding for the public health arm of the UN in the middle of the pandemic is sure to raise outcries, though the president may resume funding after sending 6 powerful letters to the organization and discussing it with other nations. The WHO, based in Switzerland, is considered the world leader in the public health emergencies, such as the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that has already been nearly stamped out amid violent conditions. Mr. Trump frequently cites mutual organizations that cost plenty of US money, yet even as he accuses the WHO of being China-centric, he's also been reluctant to attack Chinese Xinjiang, who controls the centralized communist government in Beijing. Mr. Trump and Mr. Peng struck a phase 1 trade deal early this year and were set to negotiate phase 2 when the pandemic hit. China has been working very hard to contain the virus. The United States greatly appreciates the effort, transparency to work out. In particular, on behalf of the American people, I want to thank President Mr. Ying. Mr. Trump tweeted January 24th, sorry. Now, that was 2 months ago, okay? The virus swamped the city of Wuhan. Mr. Trump responded to a question about his praise indirectly, pointing to his trade deal, the need for Mr. Ling to live up to it. 1 week later, Mr. Trump decided to ban foreign nationals who had been in China for over the past 14 days from entering the US. The president said that his move prevented far worse outbreaks, which I probably would agree with, though critics say that he squandered that time by failing to set up robust a diagnostic program and supply chain during February. Democrats said multiple failures at the national and international level led to the problems the US is facing now, which is ironic because it was the Democrats that were claiming Trump is racist for even doing it in the first place. But he said America needs to keep its seat at the table in global talks. It's critical the United States is at the center of the discussion, not on the sidelines, as the international community determines what path the World Health Organization, WHO, takes moving forward. Cutting back on America's support and involvement will mean the United States does not have a full seat at the table during these discussions. In other words, United States has to pay to play with everybody else. Really? The only thing magnificent and already troubling influences of China at the WHO, he said. Additionally, the activities that are most needed right now are reopen society, global disease surveillance, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I don't actually disagree with Trump on the WHO. WHO, at the end of the day, they've praised China in their response to this outbreak, which is a complete load of BS because they've been arresting journalists and everything like that. The WHO, the guy who runs it, was from Ethiopia's Communist Party, who has ties to Beijing and was literally funded by Beijing. He's also refused to talk about Taiwan. And when asked about Taiwan, he went through and pretended the microphone cut out and then said everything's good in China. There's just... Oh, and by the way, the WHO, the people that ran the WHO, they spent $200 million in 2018 on travel. $200 million in 1 year on travel, while claiming they're not getting enough money to fight Ebola. So here's an idea. While you're trying to fight Ebola, why don't you stop spending $200 million on travel? I don't know. Just a theory. You're going to go spending $200 million on travel? It seems like you might have a little bit of extra cash to burn, wouldn't you all think? And look, at the end of the day, that's... Yeah, I have so many problems with the WHO. Now, obviously, Australian Prime Minister, he has come out and defended the WHO because he's a cuck. But anyway, but yeah, he's came out and actually responded in this. Let me see if I can quickly find an article. News. Now, obviously, he also he said this, so maybe he's not as cucked as we think. Hang on a sec. So we'll bring that up. But today, he said... Wow, he's also... Scott Morrison's done that. Holy dooly. He's actually quite lit. So we'll talk about this first. Scott Morrison slams who? Scott Morrison's the leader of Australia, for backing China on reopening wet markets. An Australian PM says it's unfathomable the WHO supports reopening of wet markets. So Australia's Prime Minister is blasting the World Health Organization Tuesday over its stance on wet markets, calling it unfathomable the UN agency supports them reopening in China. So, yeah. But also today, Scott Morrison has come out and said that the WHO is actually quite valuable. Which he does have a sort of point. Let me see if I can find the video. No, I can't find it. I can't find it quickly. But yeah, he came out today and basically said that the WHO is a important thing, and yeah, he was kind of hinting at the fact that he disagrees with America about them cancelling the payments and stuff. Of course, at the end of the day, because Australia would then have to turn around and actually pay more money, which is probably the reason for it. But anyway, but yeah, look, at the end of the day, as for Donald Trump, I actually support him cancelling the funding of WHO. I think the US definitely pays more than its fair share when it comes to the WHO, and especially if WHO is going to use $200 million of that to go and literally fly around and use that for travel expenses. That to me is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know about you guys, but $200 million in travel. They were having palace plated marble floors and, penthouses and stuff like that. They were literally dining on America's checkbook. So I support Trump. I really, really do. And I think the WHO is corrupt from the top up. They need a broom to go through the WHO and to clean it all out. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on Trump cutting the funding? Like I said, it's more suspending the funding right about now. They're trying to make it seem worse than it really is. But I definitely think he's going to do it. I definitely think he's going to cut the funding. And I agree with him. I really, really do. Let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Guys, this will be the last video for the day. I want to do some more research into that whole mail ballot thing. I might cover it tomorrow night for you. But yeah, apart from that, guys, obviously, have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. I want to go down and I've got a headache. I want to watch a little bit of TV and have a little bit of something to drink and just relax. So have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. Enjoy.